Hello and welcome back to Motoring Madness. It is a new year. It is 2019. Happy New Year to everyone. So we thought we'd do a bit of a New Year themed show today. I am joined by Sam Midgley.
Hello.
Fellow car enthusiast. You haven't been on the show since a long time ago, have you?
No, not for... Must have been over a year.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. God, that's a long
Cool.
time.
So should we just get straight to it?
I reckon.
Let's talk about some cars. So it's the new year. Let's talk about the best cars that came out in 2018. What have you got for us?
Well, I'm going to start with one of my personal favourites. Well, my personal favourite consumer cars from 2018, which is the Volvo V60.
Nice. Very good looking car.
It is a beautiful looking car. It's part of the new Volvo range, where I don't know enough about it to go into too much detail, but I think they changed their designer and someone is doing an incredibly good job somewhere.
Yeah. All of the Volvo from 2018 range look pretty damn beautiful.
They're beautiful. I think they started off with the new XC90,
yeah,
which is an absolutely stunning car.
And
but anyway,
V90.
Yeah, and that.
And there's an XC40 coming out next year.
Yeah.
Which looks really cool. Yeah.
Basically, they've completely redone their entire range.
Yeah.
And they all look amazing. But we're going to talk about the V60 because that was one that came out. I think it was the first ones that came out in 2018 of this type. Mm. So, yeah, they're starting around 32,000.
Right.
And then different places say different things. I mean, it can go up to 40,000 plus depending on what engine you want.
Yeah.
They do all the normal engines, D3, D4, T5. But the one I want to talk about is the T8 hybrid. So it's it's a twin engine. It's got the petrol engine in the front.
Nice.
And electric engine.
Okay.
I think is in the back. It's a four-wheel drive. So the handling is going to be, I imagine, going to be quite incredible.
Does the electric motor power the rear wheels, or is it different? Do we not know?
I don't know.
Yeah. I didn't realise I suppose it's just because it's the hybrid. I didn't realise they did a four-wheel drive version of the 60.
Apparently it's just because it's much more power. It's a hybrid. It's a 390 horsepower engine. And you're going to need all four wheels to put that kind of power down. I think.
That's very cool.
Yeah,
that's so good. They're also just the nicest looking cars.
Yeah.
They're amazing because they're like the smaller estate, aren't they?
Yeah,
I think they do saloons as well, but I mean, I don't know why you'd get a saloon Volvo.
Essentially, it's the V90, but
slightly smaller,
compacted a little bit.
Sort of like a Golf estate is to a Passat in the VW range.
Yeah,
it's like the smaller estate. Yeah.
That kind of thing. Yeah. Okay, so it's got all the usual Volvo safety features and all the things that new cars have now, got this autopilot.
Oh yeah.
Safety braking. I don't know what it's called.
Okay, I know.
You know
the adaptive cruise control.
Adaptive cruise control and emergency braking technology and all sorts of stuff. The interior is beautiful. Okay. Beautiful, clean design. If I had the money lying around, I would go out tomorrow and buy one.
That's cool. I didn't know they made a hybrid. That's really awesome, and I think they're becoming more and more popular, and I think they're going to become more and more the norm. So
I think I can't remember what year it is. I think it's 2025. Possibly Volvo are saying that they want to make their entire range electric.
That's amazing. Yeah.
So we'll see.
Bold claim, but we'll see. See what happens. Yeah.
Yeah. Another one I want to talk about is the Jaguar E-Pace. So at the moment, there are so many new sort of compact SUVs coming out.
Yeah, lots of SUVs. People like SUVs.
They're very popular at the moment. So this is another one.
Not sure I'm so much of a fan, but
people
seem to like being high up and having big cars.
Yeah, I can see the appeal of it. I don't. Yeah. If you're going for an SUV, why don't you just get a proper one?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So, but anyway, this is the Jaguar E-Pace, which...
See, I always thought the E-Pace was electric.
Yeah, this was just what I was going to say. I think it's a slightly misleading name.
Yeah.
Considering I don't think they do an electric version. They do 2-litre diesel and a 2-litre petrol with ranging amounts of horsepower anywhere between 150 horsepower and 296 horsepower.
Okay.
It comes with a manual gearbox or the 9-speed automatic.
Okay. See, I always thought that was Jaguar's electric or hybrid car, but did Jaguar do an electric or a hybrid?
Well, they're making one.
Okay.
They haven't. It's up for order. You can order them, but they haven't actually released the date that they're going to start producing them yet.
Okay.
It's called the Jaguar I-Pace.
Okay, that makes some sense, I suppose.
So yeah.
I wonder whether the name E-Pace is misleading because it's not electric, but maybe it's a hark back to the E-Type. Maybe.
Possibly. I mean, I would have personally thought they would make more of a sports car if they were doing that rather than a compact SUV.
Yeah.
But maybe it's what the people seem to want their compact SUVs now. So
that's true.
Right. Okay. So yeah, my final car that I've chosen for
Best cars
of 2018 is slightly different. I've gone for the hot hatch.
Nice.
Avenue this time. It's the new Renault Megane RS, which I think actually is a very
cool hot hatch.
Good looking hot hatch.
Yeah.
Sort of, I've compared it here to the Golf GTI.
The benchmark.
Which
benchmark hot hatch Golf GTI.
Yeah,
always has been. Yeah.
Exactly. So, the Renault Megane is a 1.8 turbo, delivering a quite incredible 280 horsepower.
That's quite hot.
For a 1.8 turbo is pretty impressive.
That is. I mean, I've got a Golf GTI from 2001 that has a 1.8 turbo with 150 horsepower. So that's quite an efficient 1.8 turbo.
It's a good 1.8 turbo.
They've improved since 2001.
Obviously.
But that's quite an impressive improvement.
Starting at about 28,000, which again compared to the GTI, the Golf GTI, you're looking at £31,000 starting price before you've added any optional extras. And the Golf GTI is only 220 horsepower. So
you're getting an extra 60 horsepower for a few grand less.
Yeah.
That's seems like a good deal.
I think it's a good deal. It's a good looking car. I'm sure Renault have got a pretty good history with fast cars, so I'm sure it handles nice. And I've never driven one personally.
Yeah, I think they're cool. I mean, they're not as good looking as a Golf GTI, but it sounds like you're getting a lot more for your money. So willing to sacrifice looks for that, but they still look nice. I like them. That's cool. That's really cool. So there's been some pretty nice cars.
There's been lots more good cars. Those are three that stood out to me. I think.
Okay, so now I think it's time. We're in a new year. It's 2019. To talk about cars that are coming in 2019, exciting and interesting cars that might be coming out this year.
What cars have we got, George?
So we have, something that's worth mentioning that we sort of mentioned just now is that most of them are SUVs. There's a lot of SUVs coming out. All car manufacturers are bringing out new SUVs because people love them, and it's really weird. I don't really understand it myself, but it seems to be a thing. It's crazy. But the first one I want to talk about is quite a famous one, and there's not actually a lot that's known about it, but I think it's definitely worth mentioning still. And that is the 2019 Land Rover Defender, or similar. They don't really know what it's going to be called.
I think it's called the DC100.
The DC100 was the concept that they released in 2011. Which they got mixed reviews about. Everyone was like, it looks really weird. They weren't sure. I don't know if you remember it. You've seen it, haven't you? It's a bit strange looking.
It's strange looking. And the problem I have with what they're trying to do is, at being a Land Rover fan myself, the whole point of a Defender is that it is simple, it's rugged, you can fix it with a piece of string.
Yeah.
It's not full of electric mod cons.
Yeah.
It's good for your farmers and you're exploring when you haven't got all sorts of computers around to fix it for you.
Yeah.
And what they seem to be doing with this is they seem to be being a bit too clever with it.
Yeah, the DC100 looked very electronic, a very futuristic design. So it got mixed reactions, which meant that Land Rover decided to go back to the drawing board and scrap that concept. And then are planning on releasing a new design in 2019. So we don't actually know whether the actual car is going to be on sale in 2019. Probably not. But the newer concept for the Defender replacement is going to be released in 2019. So that's quite exciting.
I'm looking forward to seeing it, and I really, really hope that it's not.
Yeah.
It's not awful.
Yeah, I know, because that DC100 was a bit strange. Something that's worth mentioning is that they do have competitors, however, such as the Jeep Wrangler. There's also a private company, I don't know the name of, that have decided to release something with the criteria being to compete with the old Defender.
Right, okay.
So we've got some competition there, which is good. I think competition's good because it means that
Yeah.
companies ramp up their production and ramp up their kind of ingenuity to try and compete with each other. So it's quite exciting.
Exactly.
There is rumours that the new Land Rover Defender or equivalent will be better off-road than the old one,
Well,
which is a bold claim.
that is a bold claim, and if it's going to be better, I hope it's actually better. It's not better because it's filled with computers.
Yeah, that's true.
And it doesn't drive for you off-road. You can't just stick it into gravel mode and it'll get you up a gravel hill, or sand mode.
Yeah.
And like stuff like that.
It's a bit overcomplicated.
It takes the driving fun.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
stuff like that takes the driving.
Because
fun
the reason
out
that's a
of
bold claim is because the Defender is like renowned for being the best off-roader, like pretty much worldwide. So the other thing to mention is that apparently it starts, or what we know at the moment is that it's expected to start at £30,000, which for a modern SUV sounds quite cheap.
It's quite cheap. I can't remember what the Defender. I think the original Defender started at around 20,000.
Yeah.
But obviously this is going to be filled with more.
I don't know if this is boring for you because I know that it should be a simple design, but there's also rumours that it will be very closely related to the new Range Rover models.
See, that's where it goes wrong for me, because the Defender, like, I feel the Range Rover on its own is, I know you might not agree with me, the Range Rover on its own is a brilliant car. Defender on its own is a brilliant car, but I don't think
there's a way of
there's not a way of combining them, because there couldn't really be more different.
No.
Apart from the fact they're both four-wheel drive.
Yeah.
They couldn't be more different cars.
Yeah.
One is a rugged, practical, and one's for driving around Chelsea.
Yeah, right. Should we move on before this turns into a rant?
Anyway, what else have we got coming up? What's exciting?
So exciting cars in 2019. Let's move on to something a bit faster or more futuristic, if you like.
Yeah.
Aston Martin are planning on releasing an electric car.
That's interesting.
Which is not the first car company I'd expect to put all their money in making an electric car, because they're all about V12s and burning fuel.
Am I right in thinking that they're one of the last supercar companies to make an electric car
or hybrid?
Or hybrid?
Yeah, I think you might be right there, because there are most supercar companies have made hybrids.
Yeah.
Partially because it's now known that hybrid cars can be a lot faster.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's called the Aston Martin Rapide or Rapide E. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's basically Rapide, but the E is at the end is a capital.
Oh, okay.
Is a little pun there.
Is it a is it a four-door one?
Yeah, so it's based on the Rapide 5-door model.
Yeah.
Which, admittedly, I don't think is the most good-looking Aston Martin. I'm not sure how well a 5-door Aston Martin really works.
I mean, No, I think it's nice.
It's an Aston Martin. It's still good looking. It's based on the 5-door. It wants to be a luxury 5-door. 200-mile range it predicted, which compared to like the potential Tesla Model 3 600-mile range seems a little bit primitive.
However, if you think about it, if you had a petrol Aston Martin, I doubt it would have much more than 200-mile range out of a tank.
Very good point, because I can't imagine their MPGs amazing. No. That is a very good point. There's only going to be 155 built.
Really?
Which is interesting again, because most car companies have either electrical hybrids on like mass production. So that's interesting that they're only making a few, and they're going to be just under £200,000.
Not for
which
the mass
again
market then.
is a lot more than a Tesla even.
Yeah.
So
I know what's this Tesla starting price is about 60 or 80,000.
Yeah, for a Model S, and then a Model X is a bit more, but it's still only just over 100,000.
Yeah.
So that's
Are there any
Pretty crazy.
sort of stats?
There aren't any specs on it, but I would imagine it would be quite fast being electric and Aston Martin.
Yeah. I'd be surprised if it was faster than a Tesla because they're
Outrageously
if you get the higher spec ones, they're outrageously fast.
Yeah, it's true. So I don't really know why you'd buy one over a Tesla.
No.
Less range, more expensive.
Unless you just wanted the...
But that you want the Aston Martin
fact of
badge,
owning
maybe.
Aston Martin.
Yeah, and the fact that there's only 155 being made, so you want it as like a collector's item.
Yeah.
I don't know. So that's quite interesting. So the final car I want to talk about that's coming out in 2019 is the most outrageous.
Excellent.
It is the we've gone up in speed.
Yeah.
Is the 2019 Mercedes AMG Project One, which is Mercedes' answer to like a hypercar, essentially.
It's quite an insane looking car.
It looks awesome. It kind of looks like a McLaren F1, like the old
Yeah.
McLaren F1, but
I know what you mean.
Mercedes version, or it looks like a Le Mans car. It's got a pretty bold styling.
It's a really looking car.
It's going to cost £2 million. So we've also gone up in price quite considerably here.
Definitely one for the mass market.
Yeah. They are making 275 of them, which is more than the Aston Martin electric car, which is interesting. It's got a 1.6 engine, but wait for it. A 1.6 V6 turbocharged engine from an F1 car that produces 1,000 horsepower.
So it's going to be quick.
It's a pretty fast 1.6.
Yeah.
And the coolest thing about it is that it's potentially going to beat the record of the Bugatti Chiron as the fastest production car in the world.
That's exciting.
Potentially.
Because has Bugatti held that record for quite a while?
I think so, with the
Veyron, and then
they held it for a while.
Yeah, then was it the Hennessy Venom took over from the Veyron?
Briefly, and then the Chiron. Yeah. So yeah, that's quite exciting. It's a very insane car that I'm looking forward to seeing videos of it destroy an airfield or something. So yeah, that's pretty much it for exciting cars for 2019. One just to quickly mention that I haven't really looked into, but are also quite exciting. Is the new BMW Z4 is coming out this year.
Yeah, that's a nice car.
That looks, the styling on it looks amazing. That's very cool. And Mini are releasing an electric car that looks similar to a normal Mini, but slightly more. You know how they do car manufacturers? They make their electric cars just look similar, but slightly more futuristic.
A little bit more like it was out of Tron.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, Mini are releasing an electric car, which is cool. So we've discussed cars of 2018 and cars of 2019 as it's the new year. Shall we now move on to something completely different? New Year's over now. It's January. Back to work. Let's get back to normal. So
we're going to talk about some old cars.
Let's talk about future classics. Something that I don't think we've spoken about on Motoring Madness before is cars that might potentially be classics in the future. So they might rise in price a lot, or become rare, or become really desirable.
Some already becoming fairly rare, and prices are going back up again.
So future classics are cars that you could probably buy now for a reasonable price. And make a profit in the next kind of 5-10 years because their prices will increase.
What we think with all of these cars we've got here, you could easily pick one up for less than 10,000.
They're all less than 10 grand, I think. Yeah. So first one to mention, Honda S2000. They started making them in '99, I think.
Was it as early as that?
I think so. Yeah.
That's it's one of those absolutely timeless.
Yeah.
Timeless
they look
designs.
Good. They're kind of a similar concept to a Mazda MX-5, but faster.
Yeah,
basically.
It's like an MX-5 with a bigger engine.
Yeah.
And
little rear wheel soft top.
Yeah.
Convertible sports car. They've got 240 horsepower from a 2-litre naturally
actuated.
They've got 240 brake horsepower from a 2-litre naturally aspirated engine. So again, it's like a similar concept to an MX-5. It's naturally aspirated. You know, you got to get into this. It's a high revving
Honda VTEC.
Yeah.
VTEC engine.
So 240 horsepower from a 2-litre nat asp from that age is really impressive. It's fast. That's really fast.
It's a fast car. I don't know what the
I bet
actual...
you could do all the skids.
Yeah.
It would be amazing. And apparently, at the moment, you can pick them up for a minimum of about £5,000.
Which is not bad.
No, I mean, you probably want to spend more than that to get a decent one, but
Yeah.
they'll definitely increase in price, I would imagine, in the next.
I would say it would be a good place to put your money.
Yeah. So yeah,
As
they're
long as you
very cool cars.
Spin out and a roundabout, crash it.
Yeah, I'd imagine they're quite easy to crash.
Yeah.
But yeah, I bet they'd be a lot of fun to drive. I'd love to drive one
Yeah.
of those. Just a more intense version of an MX-5,
Yeah.
which is really cool.
MX-5 is already fun.
Yeah. And an
Add an
MX-5,
extra-
like a Mark 1 MX-5 is already
Yeah.
a bit of a classic. You can pick them up quite cheap, but for a decent one, they're a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's another mention,
An
actually.
MX-5 with these, is that another extra 100 horsepower?
Yeah.
120 horsepower?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Yeah, MX-5's only got, I think Mark 1 has only got 110
Something like
horsepower
that,
or
yeah.
something. So that is a very fast version of that. Yeah, very cool.
Right, next it's similar but also a bit different.
Yeah.
Is the Jaguar XKR, the 1996
Yeah.
age.
They started making them in 96, I
Is it
think,
96?
until the early noughties, maybe.
Yeah.
That generation XKR.
Which it's a bit more the thirsty beast. It's a 4-litre supercharged V8.
Blimey.
With surprisingly not that much more horsepower. It's only 290 horsepower, which is still a lot, but
I mean, it's still fast.
yeah, considering the engine's twice the size
Yeah, I suppose so.
as the S2000.
Yeah. And it's supercharged.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're very cool cars. I mean, everyone wants an old Jag. Like, it's a petrolhead must, isn't it?
Exactly.
To own a Jag at some point.
I think it is.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to have it as your everyday car because being a Jag is
thirsty and unreliable.
Going to break down all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's a great looking car, and it's gonna. I think it's just, what sort of price range are we looking at the moment?
I think you can pick them up for a minimum of about £8,000
Right.
for a shagged one.
Right. Okay.
But
yeah.
And again, yeah, you might want to spend a bit more money on that for a decent one. But apparently, yeah, you can pick them up for about £8,000, which for a V8 with nearly 300 horsepower is pretty good.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Jaguar.
So the Honda and the Jag we got from a list of potential future classics. But this next one wasn't on that list, but we think it's potentially a future classic because we know someone who owns one and we love it. It's the Volvo V70R, which is... The reason I think it's so bonkers is because it's like a Volvo of that era. So this was the 2003 one onwards that we're talking about. And it's just a classic family estate, but with crazy power.
The most underrated. Well, I wouldn't say maybe it's not the most underrated looking car. It's a great looking estate car.
Also, the R they did style pretty nicely.
Yeah.
It's got the kind
It's
of
got flared bits on the
looks
bumpers
cool.
and all sorts of stuff like that, and it's a bit lower and stuff like that. But yeah, it essentially it's a family estate.
Yeah, it's like V70R is like the ultimate family car for a petrolhead.
Yeah.
Because it could be your regular kids run around.
Exactly.
But when you're driving it on your own, you can open it up a bit.
Yeah.
Because it's got a 5-cylinder 20-valve turbo 2.5 litre engine with almost 300 horsepower, which is insane for a family estate. Admittedly, that would more be straight line speed, as they're quite big.
Yeah,
but they're lowered compared to the normal ones.
I personally have the Volvo V70 T5, which is the model one down from the R. And that's the 250 horsepower version. And that still goes like off a shovel.
Yeah.
Can I say that on the radio?
Yeah.
So one with an extra 50 horsepower added on the top and a bit stiffer suspension and a bit lower. I can only imagine it will be absolutely crazy.
Now, what's amazing about that is that, again, it's a minimum price of about £5,000. That's nearly 300 horsepower for £5,000, which is pretty good. That's like a lot. I think that's a lot more speed for the money than the Jag.
Yeah. Plus, you get the reliability of it being a Volvo,
Yeah.
and it will go on forever, hundreds of thousands of miles. Where your Jag,
Yeah.
you might,
Yeah.
you might be lucky to get 130,000 miles out of it.
You'd have to take a lot more care
Yeah.
of the Jag, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. This can be used as your daily driver.
Yeah.
Plus,
exactly.
you get the speed and
Yeah. It's a very bonkers car, and it's the other thing about it is that if you drove past one, you probably wouldn't think anything of it. You'd think, oh, it's just another like dad in his Volvo.
yeah.
But it's a bit of a sleeper
Yeah.
car, and you put your foot down and you'd surprise the
Have
passenger.
anyone off the off the
Yeah,
traffic lights.
It'd be very cool. So I would imagine they'll become more rare. They're already quite rare, aren't they?
They are quite rare. Even the T5s are becoming quite
yeah.
rare, which I think will also be a future classic.
Yeah.
Maybe
T5,
not
for
quite
the same-
as
all the same
desirable
reasons.
as the R.
Yeah.
Maybe more desirable than the R because it's a bit more within price range. It's a
Yeah.
bit more
Potentially.
within reach of.
A bit less
anyone.
bonkers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there are three potentially future classics. I think there are some others I think we should mention, like the Mark V Golf GTI.
Yeah.
That's I read an article actually recently that said the Mark V Golf GTI is the perfect car for a petrol head on a budget. Because it was saying that it's a very good hot hatch for a very reasonable price. And I can imagine the price will increase as it gets older and they start, and everyone crashes them. They become rarer.
They start becoming rare. I think they're. I can't remember if they're a 1.8 or a 2 litre, 200 horsepower.
They're quick.
Nippy
No, apparently
little-
they're amazing to drive and they
Yeah,
handle
they
really well.
handle very well.
They're a big step up from the Mark III and the Mark IV apparently. So
Yeah.
that's when, after the Mark I GTI, which was so popular and so successful, apparently the Mark V is when the GTI earned its name back.
Can go back. Yeah, because the Mark III GTI
was
a
notoriously
huge
terrible.
flop. It was terrible. I knew someone who owned one, and it was really not that much faster than my 1.4 Mark III.
It's not what you want from a GTI. So yeah, apparently it really earned its name back with the Mark V. David will thank us for mentioning the Ford Puma. I think it's not the best looking car in the world. We've spoke about this before.
I think it's one
but it's quite, apparently they're really fun to drive. And I've driven it and it is fun to drive.
I think it's one of those weird cars that becomes a classic and you're not quite sure why.
Yeah.
Because I think it's the fact that it looks so weird will be one of the reasons why people want to hang on to it.
Yeah.
Keep it going.
But yeah, they're notoriously good to drive because they're only a 1.7. Like the 1.7 is probably the one that would become. They do a 1.6 as well, but the 1.7 will probably be the one that would become a classic because they've got, what is it, 130-ish horsepower?
128 horsepower or something like that.
From a 1.7 naturally aspirated, so they're quite nippy and again a bit like a way less fast version of the Honda S2000 is naturally aspirated. So it's fun to kind of get it up into the red and rag it around a little bit.
Probably a good track day car.
Oh, definitely.
If you don't mind.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to look any worse if you bang it into a barrier.
Yeah.
So
Another one to mention, the Fiat Panda 100 horsepower. I don't think they made many of those.
No, I don't think they did.
You don't see them around very often. And I think they look quite cool.
Yeah,
I
think they're an interesting looking car. I don't know a huge amount about them, but I think they're an interesting looking car.
Again, I've heard that they're extremely fun to drive.
Yeah.
Nippy and good to handle and good around a corner.
Yeah.
And they're like a kind of hark back to like the Mark I Golf GTI, like not like mega powerful, but just like nippy and good handling, like a proper classic hot hatch.
Yeah.
None of this Renault Megane 280 horsepower nonsense.
Yeah. Not fast, not crazy fast, but small enough to feel like you're going fast.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And it's also lower than the normal Panda. It looks quite cool. Anything else?
Other things like maybe the Saab 9.3 Aero.
Yeah, another fast.
Stuff like that.
Quite good looking car. And the fact that Saab are out of business.
They've gone out of business, so they're not going to be making any more. So,
Although,
well, I suppose it could go either way. Yeah. It could just disappear.
Yeah. I think it's worth saying that the fact that Saab are out of business could either mean that it'll be way more desirable because they're not going to make any more and it's quite a novelty because they don't exist anymore, or it'll make them less popular because there'll be no more parts for them anywhere. So,
but that will mean that the few that are still going,
could
become
go
very
up
rare.
But you can't take it back to Saab and be like, fix this really complicated electronic issue because they don't exist.
Yeah.
Maybe final mention, the first BMW Z Force, again similar to the Honda and the Mazda MX-5.
Yeah.
Rear wheel drive.
Good looking car.
Good looking, nippy sports car.
Yeah.
Another cool car. Yeah, so there's some future classics for you. So go buy some and then maybe you'll make some money. But don't blame us if you don't.
Yeah. Don't hold us accountable.
Exactly.
And if you can think of any more, for those of you on YouTube, if you can think of any more future classics or cool cars that are coming out in 2019, comment them below.
Yeah, go and
Just
leave them below.
Be interesting to find out.
Yeah, and if you're listening on the radio, you can email us, vdubsurfwagon@gmail.com.
Yeah.
With any questions or any suggestions. Yeah.
Jason, tell us if we've given you the wrong information.
Yeah. I bought a Volvo V70R and I can't sell it.
Yeah. I bought a Volvo V70 T5 and I can't sell it. So if you want that...
Excellent, yeah. So I think that'll be it for this month. We'll see you in the next episode next month.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for either listening or watching on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, go check out Carinium Radio. We'll put the link down in the description. If you're listening on Carinium Radio, go check out our YouTube. It's VDub Surfwagon. So yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sam, for joining me.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
That's all right. No
Good
worries.
fun.
And we'll see you next month.